Welcome to the Awkward Femmes Podcast, where we talk about love, life, and healing from a Black queer femme perspective. I am Tiara,
And I'm Lucci.
and today is a special episode because we have our first guest. Yay! So, as if you've been tuning in, you know that it takes a while for us to turn off our professional voices and get comfortable.
Yeah.
So, this is why we're called the Awkward Femmes. It's giving.
Okay. It's
It's giving our namesake.
Let's try and get comfortable and get rid of the anxious, awkward anxiety.
I feel like you're giving a little Dom, a little Andro, a little vibes today.
Oh, appreciate it.
I'm living.
No.
Oh, and we're both gingers for those who can't see us. All right. The evolution of the Awkward Femmes. This is our guest where we're talking about MyLin. We're so excited to have you, and we appreciate you trusting us to being our first guest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you introduce yourself for people who may not be familiar with you?
Absolutely. My name is MyLin Stokes Kennedy. Majority will know me from my Instagram and just from social media as Stokes Kennedy. Me and my wife have been online for over a decade now, I want to say, maybe hitting 10 years. And yeah, we just share our life, our marriage, our pregnancy journey, our journey with our families, navigating, living in our truth, and how we navigate those relationships within that, because it is not easy being Black and queer and raised in the church. So that was really big. And so, yeah, majority on Instagram, some TikTok, some YouTube, but yeah.
Okay, well, welcome.
You're welcome.
So, MyLin is a new friend of mine, and we met. We met from around, but I slid in your DM. We talk about like sliding in DMs to
Love
make
sliding in
connections. We're
DMs.
like,
You have
instantly,
to.
yes.
And I remember my first time seeing you in person was, I believe you had already done the podcast with
Mhm.
my wife, with Hella Good. And we saw you at the WeHo Pride.
Oh
And it was
yeah.
just in passing. You was
Mhm.
just in passing, floating. Your little cape was behind you. And I was like, isn't that who you had on your podcast, babe? She was like, oh yeah, Tia, hey. And then I was just like, oh, she's pretty. And then you just kept going. And
And
that was
then
the
I
first
saw you.
time.
Yeah. Then I can't remember where I saw you after, and I was just like, I like her. Like, I just like her. I like your energy. You were just so warm and bright, and I'm like, oh, I want to be her friend.
Exactly. And then I started following you. And then at the next event, you had said something, I overheard it, and I was all like, wait, I'm your friend in your head? Like, you're my friend in my head. So we should like do this in real life.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it. I
I
feel like
love it.
you the last time I came out there, and that was
Yeah.
probably like, I'm pretty sure I was mad tipsy, but I was like, oh, okay, this is the wife of the podcast. Got it.
Yeah, it's me. And then I was just like, okay. And then this is her best friend, and your energy was just like dope as hell, faded or not. It was just like, I was like, I could fuck with this.
We as awkward films, we always start off like super uncomfortable and nervous. So we wanted to start off with a icebreaker,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
we'll just go back and forth and do that.
Okay.
Mhm. So
What
the
you got?
icebreaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the icebreaker is lesbian first. So we'll ask you questions about some of your first lesbian experiences.
Yes.
But do
Ooh.
you consider yourself to be a lesbian?
I know that is.
So that's a whole
That's a whole. That's a
that's a
whole.
whole
Right.
other thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Right? Because it's just like it's a journey. So forever I consider myself bisexual.
Okay.
It's bisexual. I've always been attracted to men and women since younger. My first crush of a girl was like in second grade, first grade. And I was like, I loved her. I was like, oh, no. Like everything, all the little experiences as a child, and stayed in love with that girl all the way through high school.
Aw.
Like that was my one. And then, but in between then, had little boyfriends and everything. And so then finally got like over men. I was like, I'm attracted to y'all, but never in never again will I be in a relationship with you. And so then I was just like, I'm queer. You know, I'm queer. And so that was literally up until like maybe this year. And I was just like, do I identify as like a full lesbian? So
Yeah.
I'm somewhere in between queer, lesbian.
I like that.
Definitely an awkward femme.
I like
Okay,
Definitely
that
a
was a
queer
good
awkward
number.
femme.
that
You
was an
know,
excellent
I
number.
fit perfectly there.
What makes you consider yourself an awkward femme?
I mean, well, obviously I am femme presenting, so we can take that word, right?
Mhm.
Um, always have been, and slightly in touch with my, some masculinity, but I feel like I can be very more femme.
Mhm.
And awkward, I mean, life. I'm just the ADHD, the no memory, the always in my head, it just leads to really awkward moments that I'm just like,
Yep.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Sounds the line.
okay.
That's
That's
it.
why I was just like, this is an awkward moment for this to be happening but I'm pretty
Mhm,
sure that conversation with me and you happened at the strip club. And
mhm.
so when you said that, and so I was just like, did I just hear her say that she wants to be my friend? Like, and then we got dancers behind us and all these
Yeah.
things. And I'm like,
It's like
let's
it's
be
cheek
friends.
clapping. It was a whole moment.
Oh my gosh. Just
Mhm.
awkward as fuck. Weird.
Oh,
But I'm here for that. I'm here for that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So Lucia, you have
yes.
yeah.
The first question is going to be first time someone clocked you as queer, and did you get nervous or excited? And I know you said you came from like a religious upbringing, so we going all the way back to that.
It is honestly all the way back because it's very hard to, right, clock me as
Mm-hmm.
queer.
Mhm.
Unless you see me making out with a girl,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that is, I want to say in high school, we're gonna take it there. I finally, me and a friend, my high school girlfriend, we had finally got together. And I just remember us being like behind some building and these girls walking by. One I was cool with, but I didn't like who she hung out with. And I do slightly remember, and I'm pulling every memory because let me tell you how my memory sucks so bad. So right, what facts might not be accurate,
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that, all honesty. But I do remember kissing her in the back and then they was like coming down from like biology through the stairs. I remember that and them talking shit about it and then me hearing it like the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we got together, we were not like fully,
Mm-hmm.
out yet. I
Mhm.
definitely didn't care. I
Yeah.
definitely didn't care.
Yeah.
But it was still just like,
New.
okay, y'all can mind your business. Yeah, you saw it, and now you're talking shit, and now people are bringing it back to me.
Yeah.
So that was it.
More like a nerve
Yeah.
then.
That
Mm-hmm.
made me think about and being queer in high school. Like my first situation, I still had a boyfriend. His name was
Mm-hmm.
Eric, and then I got a girlfriend. Her name was Erica, and I kept both of them for a while.
Come on, Paul.
And
This is a
yeah,
movie.
I'll
What?
be in a so Eric and Erica, and then like once people started finding out about Erica, he found out through everybody in the school, and then came and like chucked me in front of the whole gym class.
What?
But
Okay.
yes, but other than that, like yeah, that little high school rumor, because
Okay.
it's because think about it, we don't have that much business.
We
If
just
somebody got a
sliding
little
right through that,
something,
huh?
Yeah, we did. We definitely just went straight through it. I was like, wait, are we gonna give that more time? But go ahead.
no,
No.
because like that was
Okay.
an awful day. So like, of course, all right, I wasn't shit from the beginning because Erica was the first stud that I ever met my age. So I'm like, okay, she gonna be my girlfriend. She already had a girlfriend. I didn't care. I started talking to her. Still had Eric. He found out
Okay.
because everybody knew I was her girlfriend. He choked me, the whole thing. Then I go home. I'm upset. My mom's like trying to talk to me about something, and I'm like, I'm having a bad day, and she took that as disrespect. Then I got a whooping at like 14. So it's like an awful day. It's
Oh,
an awful.
that's horrible.
You just had the worst day.
That is horrible. I definitely remember my spanking in high school, though. I'm like,
It's like
did
it's
you
like
really just grab
while
me and
it's
whip my
happening.
ass? And I'm like,
That part.
Uh,
All this stuff, and it's like, I'm too old for this, but okay.
First of all, I hope we find Eric. If you're watching this, we gonna come and beat your ass at some point. Because the fuck,
that part.
Girl,
uh,
he
The
tried to talk to me on Facebook some years later, like try to date me. Like, Eric, Eric,
Eric, get your
Eric.
shit together. Um,
audacity.
I don't know. I was gonna say y'all sound so like people were talking shit, and then Eric choked you out. I'm like, shit. Technically, I think the first time I got clocked was probably my sister. I kept it under wraps really, really hard. But like, I skipped school this one day. My girlfriend came over, and while she was giving me head, my sister walked in. And so it was kind of like there was no other, like, it was like, oh wow. Like, and it was just right out there, right in the open. I just remember my sister was like, oh, okay. And she like just slowly closes the door. And I was like, oh, all right.
Oh.
And after that, it was like like I don't even remember how we got on the conversation, but my sister just was like, yeah, I've like been I think she said she let a girl give her head, but like she would never give a girl head. And I was like, she was
Uh-huh.
like, so it's okay. And I was like, nah, like I want to give a girl head. Like I think she was almost like trying to be like, it's okay to be like, to like gay
Hmm.
things, but like,
Yeah.
it
Mhm.
doesn't mean you're gay.
Curious.
And I was like,
Yeah.
no, I'm like gay. Like, no, I'm
I want
gay.
that. I want
I
that.
was,
Like I want to give head. I want to do more things to this girl. But like for the
All that.
longest, I was real down low. Like I was probably one of those girls who, and I'm pretty sure a lot of women probably hate me from back in the day, but I was one of those girls who had boyfriends out in public, but I never wanted anyone to know I was gay. So I think people tried to
Mm.
clock me a lot, and I would be like, ew, I'm not gay. Like fucking
I've
man.
learned so much about you every
I
episode.
know you
Every
did.
episode, I learn more about you.
I was like, ew, that's like gross. What? Like,
At home eating coochie.
I did, but wanted to eat coochie so bad, but like didn't want anybody to know. I grew up in a small town in Jacksonville, North Carolina, and then on top of
Ooh.
that, a very religious family. So it was really like being gay was not a thing, and then especially when
Mhm.
you take it back to like 2005 and four, like people weren't
Mhm.
really like as free and like I don't even think queer was
No.
a thing.
Mhm.
Queer wasn't even a
Uh,
thing you can identify with. So it was like, yeah, yeah. So when I got
we
clocked, I did not.
definitely, I was in Northern California in
Mm,
Sacramento. And so the reason I didn't care because like the girls on the basketball team, like they were all, out. We had a
see,
couple of girls from the Bay that I remember had just transferred to our school.
mhm.
It was real popular amongst the
I
girlies
love it.
and everybody was like on them. So that's why like it wasn't like a big like
Hmm.
because I'm
Thing.
outed type thing. Like
Yeah,
I just remember that was the first confrontation I had at school about it. Um, but that wasn't even my first time like being with a girl at school.
yeah,
Like I had been with a couple of the basketball players, like
yeah.
eventually, like, even before my girlfriend. So that was what your story reminded me of though, I have to share because that fucking awkward moment of being caught with a girl in the house.
Yes.
Mine was coming back my sophomore year from college with my roommates,
Come on, roommate.
and my dad had left. We got it. She had slept on the fold out couch.
Hmm.
And so then once my dad left, I was just like, okay, finally. And so we got into it. And then all of a sudden, bam, garage door opens. I was all like, that was a fucking setup. My dad's a little bitch. That was so, I was like, there's no, and literally it was just that. To come back in, we like immediately moved apart. We're sitting up watching TV type of situation. And he just like gave me that look and then he left. He didn't want to address it then. And then we had like the talk after or whatever because he did see it. It was so annoying, but I've definitely had
Yeah,
that bust in and it was with my
What
dad
is the
and that
talk?
yeah,
Like, I'm
sucks.
just trying to figure out as a parent how I'm coming in. Like, hey, so yeah.
it no, it's a real thing. Like my dad hit me with so like the fuck y'all gonna be fucking holding hands and shit. Like what the fuck? What is that? And I'm like, any other parent I feel like would have been like, okay. He was just like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? I don't fucking know. You're the adult. Like,
What?
what do you mean? Like, I can't imagine what it would be like as a parent back then too, because they aren't as
Mhm.
informed as we are, I feel like, or as
Mhm.
generations after them became more informed. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't even think my dad knew what to say. Like, he just was like, what the fuck?
Uh,
Like,
that was just an asshole. Very controlling.
mm,
Very. That's not. That's not happening. It
yeah.
was just a very like, that's not happening. I
Mm,
know that's not what I saw because
Mhm.
that's not happening here. Da, da, da. And I was just like, no, I don't. That's that. No, that's not what you saw. Like, I was just quick. Like, I'm not even about to do this shit with you.
yeah.
Right.
I leave in 3 weeks to go back to college. Nope, not what you saw. Okay, let's be. I'm not doing
Yeah.
this.
Like, have you not heard of the scissor dance move? That's what we were doing.
This is her dance
Shut
move is
up,
crazy.
fool.
Okay. Like, I was just helping her with her shirt button thing.
Yeah. I slipped and fell and our
No.
legs just intersected. Like, what are you talking about?
And you would
No, we
think,
never discussed the details
Yeah.
of it. It was just kind of like a little scolding of that's not it type of thing. And
mhm.
I went on about my way.
Has
Yeah.
it
I
gotten
mean,
better? I know, and I feel
You
like
said what?
we're going deep into everything. I'm like, has it
I
gotten
know
better?
that with my dad.
Yeah.
Oh, he's blocked.
Yeah.
And that is a deep story of how we got there, honey. But yes, he is
Sorry.
blocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I have so much to say about that, but I'll do
I know.
we'll
I'm like, we
FaceTime later,
this
dear.
is supposed to be an
listen,
icebreaker.
we will be on here for a while because I'm like,
Definitely broke the ice real quick.
listen.
Let me tell you, the drama with my dad is, ooh, it's deep. I was a daddy's girl. So when it finally, and then I got pregnant in college my senior year.
Hmm.
And so then, like that, we moved into that.
Hmm.
And they all thought everybody was so happy. Oh, praise God, Jesus, she's not. Hey, there, this man wants to marry her. She's got a baby.
Uh,
And I was just like, I can't marry him because I like pussy. It's not going to work. It's
yeah.
not going to work. And so then, literally a couple years after that, I met SK and
Yeah.
I've been with her ever since.
Mm.
Was there ever a part of you that considered like living out what they thought you should be, or did you always know like, yeah, no, fuck that?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Even once I got with SK, we were back and forth
Mm.
on like, I can't, how am I going to raise my son that I have with this man with you?
Mhm.
How am I going to raise him with the woman? He had still been in Christian schools. He was at a Christian elementary school. I'm trying to figure this out. His dad's side's family's against it, my family's against it, and it literally was just like
Mm.
me having to choose myself and be like, whatever happens is going to happen because the love that I feel with her, nothing in my life has ever compared.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just have to figure this out, and if I'm doing it alone, then I'm doing it alone.
Yeah.
And so I've always kind of feel like I've been that black sheep of the family and kind of always my Aquarius spirit. I I've always kind of just done what I want to as
Yeah.
well. I definitely try to please and I definitely try to keep the peace.
Mhm.
Because I really don't like confrontation and conflict that much.
Mhm.
But also I finally got to a point of like, fuck
Yeah.
you. That's
You
my
know,
life.
some people like really will not make the decision to live in their truth because of how it impacts other people or because they think they're going to
Mhm.
lose everything. But you're an example of like you really gain everything. Like, yeah, that shit is hard. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
all of these things, but the freedom that comes from living in your truth and having the love that you want and deserve, that shit is
Yeah.
priceless.
Yeah.
It really, really is. And the peace and the joy and the love that I have now as our love has continued to grow, as we've built our family, expanded our family. And that's where, my mom was the only one at our wedding. Like her parents didn't come. My dad was like, fuck no, I'm in church. And then where you should be. And then she carried first. And so once she got pregnant and he told us that that's not his grandson because that's not blood, I was like, got it. And then I got pregnant after, and he was like, "Oh, my baby." And then that's when I finally had to cut it off. I said, "I can't talk to you anymore," and had to cut it off for like a year and a half. I tried to bring it back. We discussed doing therapy, and he still to this day, they're 3 and 5. He has never seen my kids in person, never met them. They don't know him,
Mm.
none of that, and that's your loss.
Yeah.
You're lost. And just recently, I tried to bring him back in through like text and talking, just me and him.
Mhm.
And then my grandma died suddenly. He showed his ass then. And then I didn't hit him for his birthday. And he hit me with a text the next day. You got to honor thy father, thy mother. You need to know what all this. I said, blocked. I'm done. So it's been a month, fully blocked, cut off. And but my brother, he's literally trying to plan like to fly us out there for Father's Day. Like it's just crazy, like in his head, like without any resolution, without it's just like I'm father and you're
Mm-hmm.
a child and you honor your father and we're going to do this. And then also you get the, they're getting old and they're getting sick and you're not gonna put that on me.
Yeah.
You're right. You are getting old and sick. So you should.
You should. That's for
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm not about to.
sure.
I'm not about to. And it took me a while to get there. And luckily, my wife gave me time to discover this on my own because
Mhm.
she was often from the very beginning. She can see through a lot of people. I wear like, what do they say, the rose tinted colored glasses, and everybody's okay.
Literally, you
Um,
literally have on rose glasses.
Uh-huh.
so it took me a minute, but I finally got there, and I was just like, your love is conditional, it's toxic, and I definitely don't want this around my kids.
Yeah.
And so finally it just had to be like a no.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy how we got here from the who
From getting
who
finger
popped
bangs on the
you.
couch, like
Yeah, all of that. I'm just like, I
Listen,
could.
listen. It sometimes that's where the show ends up taking us, especially with these questions too.
yeah. Because my next icebreaker, I feel like it's inappropriate now. So I'm like, it's all right. It's
All of
what
these
was your
are
first kiss
needed.
with a girl, and what song would you say would have been like the soundtrack for that first kiss?
Okay. So my first kiss with a girl was the girl that I told you I was in love with since like first grade.
Mhm.
And she came up for was it my 16th birthday? Or was it my 13th birthday? That I don't remember if it was 13 or 16. And I just remember she kissed me before we went out for the party at my
Mm.
house.
Aw.
But because she was a family friend. So it was like her and my cousin and them all came up for my party. And then I was like so excited. And then she came and she kissed me. And I was like, I knew it. Crazy. A song. Dang, I'm trying to think of something like back then. But it was really given like in the moment. Obviously, I've been married 10 plus years now, but in the moment, it was given like what's that song? Jesse Powell, You. It was like everything cleared, and it was just all like, you're the only one I need. I was just like, head over heels, y'all.
Oh my
Done.
God, the
Oh,
way we used to be so in love, like it was the only
In
love we was gonna ever
love.
have.
Christy. Thought
Lucci,
it
what
was
was
gonna
your
be
first
the
kiss?
only person we'd ever be with forever. Um, damn. First kiss with a girl. Man, I mean, I was young, so I guess I don't know. Probably one of those girls I went to church with. Um, I'm pretty sure it's probably this girl named Shantae. And I don't think it was really like a romantic thing as much as it was just like a curiosity, like, ooh, what's that? Like, what's this about? Like, I am enjoying this. I like this. I wouldn't
Yes.
say there was any romance behind it. I think my first romantic kiss didn't happen until like middle school. And it was with my best friend at the time, Javon. And I'd probably say if I had to put a song with it, it wasn't out then, but it came out later. But I'd probably say like My Boo by like Alicia Keys
Mhm.
and Usher. She was
Yeah.
like, she was my best friend. We were secretly like always kissing and making out. She used to stay the night all the time. My mom loved her. My mom loved her mom because her mom was in church and they were like Samoan. So they went to a Samoan church and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
my mom just loved her. She ate her up.
Mhm.
So it was like I could close the door and she could stay the night and we could just like, be gay and then come out and
Mm.
not be gay. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
That's
Is
how
she
love
gay
is.
now?
she actually passed away.
Oh.
Yeah, she died my
Damn.
senior year in high school in a car accident. Yeah, but she was the first girl who I'd ever been with. I know that story goes so dark, guys.
Man.
Not in a bad way. Like we still were
Man.
friends all the way up until Actually, at her funeral is how I started to make friends my senior year with some of the other girls who were more straight. And so that's how I started getting
Mhm.
straight friends, and I started going back into my closeted lifestyle that I didn't come out of until college, where I was like,
Wow.
none of my friends are gay anymore. I can't be secretly gay. Like, I can't tell them what I
Yeah.
do. I can't tell them anything. Like, I lost that one person who knew anything about, any of that part of me. So it was like I had to close myself back off in that closet. I think my sister she kind of helped me get out of it a bit, if I will say. Like, she was a lot more open about how she started to feel, and I think it was easier for me to be like, okay, I like girls and I got to tell daddy. Like,
Mhm.
so, and she was like, he already knows. He doesn't understand it, but he
But
knows. Like, he's
knows,
he's
yeah.
he's
They know.
guessing. He's guessing. He doesn't like it, but he knows. And kind of like similar. I had a boyfriend, so my dad was like, he wanted me to be with that man. He wanted us. The boy was going to propose to me. The boy told my
Yeah.
dad he wanted me to be with him. We were getting an
Yeah.
apartment. We were looking for cars. I was there. I was right there. And then I came out, and my dad, I could tell he knew. He knew he knew I was going to come out. He knew. He knew I
Yeah.
was messing with a girl then. I just kept calling her my friend. He knew. And it was like, he just kept hitting me with hints like, you know, Eddie's a good guy. He's really good for you. This will be really good for you guys. Like, and I'm like, yeah, it'll be great. Like, gonna fucking
Yeah.
die with Eddie? No. Like, he was
Please
he
don't.
was super sweet, but I was like, I want the lesbian. I wanna be
Yeah.
with this girl. I wanna. Ugh. So.
No, the first time I ever kissed a girl, I was like 7 or 8, and I was watching a movie with like
Really?
but it was like all of us, my mom, her mom, all of us in the living room watching the movie. I was like, she's just so beautiful, and I reached over and kissed her. My mama sent me to my room. I didn't understand those feelings. That was the first time. But when y'all was talking, it made me think about this girl. It was like this is gonna be like such a rent like my grandfather's wife's cousin, little cousin,
Okay.
who I used to go to her house all the time. And she used to be like humping all the time. She introduced me to humping. So the
I'm
first
gonna
time I get on top, her dad walks in. And he was just
The
like,
first time,
the first
which
time
time
I got
was
on
this
top.
though? The
Which
first
time?
time you got to talk, how many times
How many
happened
times?
before that?
Girl, who knows?
It was the
Who
Damn.
knows?
humping, okay? Because we was humping.
Wait, but did you put a sock in it? So
No,
that's
you
what
are
me and my
very
friends used to
advanced.
do. But let me tell
Wait,
you,
wait.
that was at 7 and 8 and
Yeah,
9. That was
yeah.
at that age, but we had never kissed. We were literally just grinding on each other. She was the one that pulled the sock and put it in. So I don't know where she got that from, but I just remember that it felt good and I liked it, but we never kissed. My kiss, and now I am for sure that it was my 13th birthday, but because I had a lot more experiences in high school.
She was
But
advanced.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
she
But
was.
I know, like, I wasn't I felt like so when her dad came in, he was just like, "Get down." That's all he said. And I'm like, "Oh, she must do this shit all the time." Because the next day, I'm like waiting, like, "Oh my God, I'm about to be in so much fucking trouble. I'm about to be in so much trouble." Nobody ever said anything to me.
Oh my
Ever. I'm like,
gosh.
"Oh, she must be getting down." Now I feel cheated on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this is,
You feel like it
oh,
wasn't
I'm not the
special.
first. I'm not the
I'm not
only
the
one.
first.
It wasn't
No.
special.
Do you have
Yeah.
another fun icebreaker, or do you want to move into the next part?
I have a fun icebreaker. The first lesbian TV couple you got too emotionally invested in,
I
or the first person that maybe like made you think like or feel aroused. Like, they don't even have to be gay, but that first person that made you feel aroused that you saw on a TV show where you were like, she's not gay, but like she makes me want to be gay.
Angelina Jolie.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Gia, I love Gia. I watched Gia so many times, even though it was
Yes.
sad.
Oh my
Gia
Yeah.
God.
was
Uh,
it. Gia was it.
um,
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
See, and I couldn't watch Gia
Woo.
until later. I feel like I thought mine was not even I thought mine was what's her name? Michelle Rodriguez.
Oh yeah. In
I
Oh.
Fast and Furious,
Mhm.
I definitely thought she was gay.
exactly. Like, it was something about her demeanor that
Mm-hmm.
gave tomboyish,
Mhm.
and she wasn't that gay. She still isn't gay. I think she's
Mm-hmm.
gay, but we're gonna move on. But like that was probably my first person I saw like in every movie, every show she was on, where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in love. Like I love her.
Yeah.
We're gonna be together, and she doesn't know it.
Does Cisco count? Because that's who I used to be in love with.
What?
Cisco.
I really thought I misheard.
To be attracted to Cisco, I had to be gay. Like, why was I so attracted to Cisco? I wanted to give him
I
my
have
virginity. I
no.
loved him so
I'm
much.
not gonna lie, that was Prince for me. Like I didn't know what it was. I didn't know
Really?
what it was about Prince, but I just thought he was so sexy, and I liked how he dressed. And everybody was like, "He's gay," and I'm like, I still want to be with him. Like, I didn't care. I was like, I thought he was just so. And I used to date guys that looked like him, like, and that's really when I should have known. But I used to date
Mm,
pretty boys, or like pretty like men that had like really nice hair or long hair, and that just gave a feminine like
okay. Yeah.
presenting moment. Should have known I was gay
Definitely.
then.
Literally used to be watching the videos like, damn, I want to give him my virginity.
That's
This though is
crazy.
crazy.
No, that's crazy. I
That's
can't.
meta.
Mhm.
Mm-mm. Y'all on your own on each of those.
Y'all are on your own.
Let's move into our like just main segment where we just get to know you a little bit. And I'll get into the first question. And my first question for you is like, so you're married, you've been married for a long time. And before
Yeah.
that, you had plenty of, I'm assuming, plenty of girlfriends or girl experiences. What for
Yeah.
you was a shift from being a girlfriend to being a wife? Like, what's the difference
Yeah.
for people that, like me, who are
Yeah.
unmarried?
And like myself, never even been asked to get married.
Oops.
I've been asked by
Oh,
accident, but that was it.
by
That's
accident,
another
you got
story.
it's so another story. Okay, let me
Yeah.
focus.
Yeah.
Um, I think the biggest shift for me is really about from girlfriend to wife. It's a level of the word that's coming to me right now is self-sacrifice, but it's just about really, and it's sad that I can't say that I was like heavy into this while dating. Didn't care about it, but like really being accountable of that person's feelings, of them. Girlfriend to wife, it's like as wife, like you are that person's safe space for real. Y'all are joined, and I don't know how good this is gonna sound. I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry if it sounds like bad, but and it was a learning process too. And I think I learned that as I was a wife, I became and I'm becoming, right? We are 10 years into this, and still there are things where I'm just like, she deserves more. I have to give more. I have to release my ego and my pride and really put in the work and make the daily choice um to really put their needs high,
Hmm.
you know? And I feel that we are very much I need to be taken care of. I need to, get mine. And if you're not going to do for me, then you can go. But what are you doing for your person? You
Hmm.
know? And SK does take very good care of me. And I just have come from a place of always being taken care of. That that switch is that's one of the biggest switches that had to happen for me from girlfriend to wife is you also need to take care of your person, and the level of that is truly a daily choice and how
Yeah.
you show up for them.
I was talking to someone the other day about marriage, and she was just saying, like, I didn't realize, like, because when we're younger, marriage is just so romanticized. You meet a person, it's a whirlwind romance, and that's it. But it's literally a choice you have to make every day.
Yeah, it really is. I'm saying I'm having to choose. I'm saying, MyLin, let your ego go. MyLin, put the pride away. MyLin, we're in therapy, right? We're going back to therapy because the communication, right? We're constantly growing and we're changing and we're evolving.
Hmm.
who we are right now in 2025 is not who we were in 2015 when we got married.
Yeah.
So, with that change and now 3 kids and these businesses and side things, like so much has changed. And with that, our needs have changed as well. Maybe something that we used to like that our partner did, we don't like anymore. And so being able to constantly communicate that in a loving way also, because your tone matters, and I can definitely get lost with my tone. I can be caught in the moment that I'm in after these kids just harassed me and beat me, and this deadline is due, and now she's coming at me with something, and I'm just like, no, I don't, but it's like what I'm dealing with and experiencing has nothing to do with you. And as she just recently told me, it's hard when she's getting hit with that when it shouldn't be directed towards her.
Yeah.
And so that is something that, I'm working on and making the daily choice of being like, MyLin, it's not her. Watch yourself.
Yeah.
Watch her. And so that it takes work, y'all.
It definitely sounds like it. And you say, like, you guys were together for 10 years before you guys got married?
No. We've been married for 10 years.
Actually,
We got together February 19th, 2013.
Aww.
Officially, that's when she became my girlfriend.
Well, I feel like as you were talking, I started to think with being together for that long, how would you say, I know you said you guys are in therapy. How would you say that how do you keep your sense of self during your relationship, over that long period of time? Like, how do you make sure that you still stay true to you and also continue to work on you throughout the process?
I would say it was definitely easier before kids. So even, and we didn't have kids until within that our 4th year of marriage, 5th year of marriage. So we were still, she was still like writing and singing and performing at places and doing things, and I was and designing and stuff, and I was going out to art shows and doing live art and doing my paint and stuff and like all the things, and was very much still, me. We had our time. And then, although I had a child already, we were a week on, week off. So even though we started our relationship already having a kid in our life, because me and his dad share custody, we still had 2 weeks off per month that allowed us to continue to have that time, together and stuff. But then once we had our own kids, and that brought in, and now I'm home with them. So I quit subbing. I stopped working at the paint studio. I stopped doing live art shows, everything, because I was home with them. She had her design business. And it was definitely last year, 2024 was really, really hard for me. We moved out of Orange County out here to Riverside County. I realized that I had lost myself. I hadn't picked up a paintbrush in so long. I felt overwhelmed. Had always had this idea of when we have kids, I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm going to take care of them. And now I'm in it. And no, I did not plan for a child on the spectrum. I did not plan for those extra needs that he was going to need. And then for the last one, I have to be like a child 3-in-1. He is my little whirlwind, okay, of a being, of a spirit. And so the two of them together it was overwhelming. I was constantly just touched out, sensory overload, just everything was just too much on mommy constantly, all day, every day. Then she needs me, then my eldest needs me, and then I'm out here hours from LA, away from everybody. And last year was hard. And it was within that year that I got back into individualized therapy, like just for me. And it was within there that I finally said out loud to my therapist, before I even was able to say it to my wife, because I didn't realize, I was like, I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. And that took a lot to come, because that's how I had just like identified myself. Like, we're going to have kids and this is who I'm going to be. And I'm going to be a wife and a stay-at-home mom. And then as they get older, then I'll do my art. And then like after having Maddox, I was just like, and I had a doula, I had a home birth, and I just fell in love with that. And so now I'm just like, and now I'm also going to be a doula, which I'm still committed to. I'm totally
Oh, I
doing that.
love that.
Yes.
I cannot wait to get into that part
You
of it.
gotta talk to her
But
friend. One of
Lauren.
Gucci's close friends is a doula.
Yeah, she's
really,
a
Yeah.
doula. She teaches classes. I'll definitely hook you guys up.
yeah, I do very much feel called to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I definitely do plan, to do that. Give me 5 years or so. I need my kids to not be littles anymore.
Yeah.
And stuff. But I am, I did the therapy. I recognized those things. I realized all the guilt that I was carrying, moving far from my eldest and, stuff like that. And finally was able to communicate with my wife. Like, I have been trying to hold this persona and hold this,
Yeah.
be this strength here in the household for everybody, but I can't. And I had my first panic attacks last year. Like, it was truly overwhelming. And so she was just like, of course, she had no idea. And like, so now I'm just like crying on her and all this stuff, but we're working through it. And so this reminds me, y'all, I need to respond to an email, but to solidify my start date. But I got hired
Oh,
as a art instructor for a
yes.
wellness center.
Congratulations.
And so I'm really excited. I'll be working with foster youth at 4 different wellness centers that they have for them. And I have to select my start date. And it's either next week or the first week of June. But I'll be starting that. And I'm so excited about that. I finally got my littlest one in preschool. Lennox is so excited about starting school. So we're in the process of his IEPs and assessment and everything. And he'll start kindergarten in the fall. But yeah, I'm doing the work to
Yeah.
get back
To
to
get
me. All of that to be
yourself.
like, it's a journey. And
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
get lost,
Yeah.
but I have found myself. I'm on the journey to, refinding myself too, and to, what I want
Yeah.
to do and stuff like that. But first things first is that I cannot be trapped in the walls of this house anymore.
Yeah. I think that like moms, like now it's a thing where moms are talking more about their experience, but our moms didn't talk enough about what they went through and they made it look so
Mm-mm.
easy. I can
Yeah.
Yeah.
imagine being this age and I gotta do all of these things and then I gotta worry about all of these people too. That is not easy. That is not a small
Yeah.
feat. It is a
Yeah.
huge, huge job. And I don't think that we talk enough about it. And then then because everybody else thinks it's so easy and it's so seamless, y'all feel forced to be so perfect when that's fucking impossible.
Yeah. It
How do
really
you
is.
how do you push back against that like perfect wife, mother, daughter dynamic, especially as like a person that's in the public and
Yeah.
experiencing like all these trolls too?
Yeah.
Oh Lord, the trolls.
Eh?
Um, and I've been getting them heavy right now, but I will say that, and I definitely don't feel like I'm the first. It was really in seeing other moms become more vulnerable
Hmm.
on social media, it opened up and allowed the space for me to as well. And I feel like we've always been transparent with our journeys. Because like I just started a personal page. But a lot of the stuff, our family, our love, our journey, that's all on our couple page on Stokes Kennedy. And we've been transparent with our journeys, with our child birthing process, with like all of that. And as we've had the kids and we showed the kids, I was always, now you've never seen me like crying per se on it, but I am going to dive into it in the captions and in DMs with people one on one and be transparent in my response to comments about the struggles, about how hard it is, about how, because people swear our marriage is perfect. You guys are couple goals. I want a marriage like yours. Da, 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 da. And what I will say to that is that I am definitely grateful for SK as my partner, as my best friend, because what our marriage is, the foundation of that is that at the start of it all is that we have respect for each other.
Mhm.
We have disagreements. All relationships will have disagreements. We've had a couple of fights, but even in those fights, never physical, never putting hands on each other. And verbally, emotionally, we are not demeaning each other. We're not saying shit that you need to then come back and be like, damn,
Mhm.
I should have never said this. I didn't mean to talk about your mama. I didn't mean to talk about that insecurity you have. I didn't mean to, like, no, because now how are you supposed to be a safe space for your person when they divulge this stuff to you and now in an argument, you going to spew it back at them? Like, that's a no. So I am very much like, we are not perfect, but we do hold a level of respect that I feel that our relationships need to have.
Yeah.
Because when I hear about how some people fight, and some people be like, no, that's just how we are, and that's how we do. Hey, to each their own, to each their own.
Yeah.
But I don't see a lot of success with that,
Yeah.
longevity with that, and so that level of respect and having that sincere love at the foundation of it is really something that like carries us through.
Yeah.
And then she's just a really big communicator.
No, I mean, like, communication is
Very
really
important.
the fundamental thing that everybody really has to solidify to have a healthy relationship. And a lot of us didn't grow up learning how to communicate healthy.
No, yeah,
So we
not at
learn
all.
it
I
in
did
our
not.
relationships
I did
in this
not at
trial and
all.
error. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
damn, I've been yelling this whole time, and because everybody yelled, and now, oh, I
Yeah.
shouldn't be yelling. Got it.
Like
Mm-hmm.
now
Or
you're
Yeah.
I did silent treatment because I thought that I was just processing, but now you are feeling alienated. It's like all of these things that we
Yeah.
don't learn until we're in it. So it's not this idea of like, I don't know. I always think like there's no perfect love, but there's like a real love, a safe place that, because there's no relationship that you're gonna have where you're not gonna disagree. Somebody's
Mm-hmm.
not gonna be disappointed. Somebody's
Mm-hmm.
not going to be feeling rejected or abandoned or anything. But
Yeah.
it's safe when you can come back and talk about those things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
communication is always very important. I feel like you said, I think there's this idea when people look at, your relationship sometimes where it's like, this is perfect, all this looks shiny. I wish I had what they had. And sometimes I think I've even seen that on some pages, and then I've known the person and their relationship was just not something I would ever wish for. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, but visually to see it on social media, sometimes I've heard people be like, their relationship's everything. And I'll be like, I don't think you want that. And it's like, like you said, sometimes it's very important to, number one, know what you're idolizing. Number two, know like what you actually want. And it really is something behind all of that. There's work that's put into it. There's communication,
Yeah.
there's love, there's a strong foundation. It's not just rainbows and sunshine and
Yeah.
boom, we're here. It's like this took two people who were like,
Yeah.
let's talk this out. Let's, work on this. It's never going to be perfect. I think I had to take that out of my head. It's the Virgo in me that was like, oh, you don't like this? Goodbye. Like, but I had
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
finally find that person where I was like, okay, let's work through this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like it, but maybe we can like talk about it.
Give
And
us some context, girl. Give us some context.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I feel like I've had like a lot of relationships, and I've in some episodes I've even gone as far to be like yeah, I had to I was a little bit of a hoe. But I feel like this most recent relationship that I'm in has finally brought me to a place where I'm actually considering, how I talk. I'm always good at saying when I'm wrong, and throughout all my past relationships, it's always been like, okay, where could I have changed? What could I have done better? But I feel like in this relationship I'm in now, it's become a little bit more like now it's, oh, don't yell. Let me think about it. Let me see how she
Mm-hmm.
feels. Like there was even a point, she's
Yeah.
been married before. And so some of the conversations we've had, she'll be like, that's not something like a wife would do, or that's not something like a girlfriend would do. And if I'm thinking of how I would want to operate with you in this capacity or in this way, sometimes I consider this. And I'm like, I had to tell her not, most recently, I was like, I've never been a wife. I don't know what a wife thinks. I don't know and I've been a girlfriend, but I was like, I wouldn't even count some of my, girlfriend relationships as something that was as serious as how I feel with her. So I even had to have the conversation where I was like, you have to work with me and understand that where you are, as far as how you think, how you move, how you operate, with me, it's not the same for me. Like I have to
Yeah.
stop and consider, because for me, it's like a girl could do one wrong thing, and I'm like, bye, bitch. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
on to the
And I
Right.
next. Like, I'm back in the streets. And it's like,
and I think
no.
I have an outlier thing where
Yes.
I've shown up in relationships and just felt like I've overgiven.
Mm-hmm.
So at this stage in my life, if I'm somebody's girlfriend, I do want to commit. I do want to show up. I do want all these things, but I am not your wife. And I'm not showing up as a wife because it's a different level of commitment
Yeah.
that you have to
Hmm.
earn to have that type of access to me.
Yes.
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 Yeah, I
It's
definitely agree with that. I and to just real quick to emphasize your point about the silent treatment, like we always emphasize, like, don't be yelling at me, don't talk to me in that tone. But when you go silent and you just ignore, and I am talking about this from experience because I am that one. Communication was not big in my household, like growing up, or it was just being talked at,
mm,
and I never saw my parents discuss it. I saw my dad talk to my mom,
mm,
and my mom like
mm.
shut down and move
Yeah.
on, right? And so in there, I'm realizing that I do that. I kind of shut down and I'm silent about it. And so when you have somebody that's silent and somebody's just like, talk to me, tell me what's going on, it can get, it becomes difficult
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
when your way is to talk, talk, talk and resolve. And my way is like, I need space, I need time, I need to process. And also, sometimes I don't have the words. And so now I'm just silent. I'm like, okay, I don't know. It's too much for me.
Mm-hmm.
I cry at everything. Oh my gosh, I'm so emotional. Sometimes I'm just like, I start getting mad while I'm talking because the tears are already coming. They're just like, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and it's worse when it's like I know that I'm in the wrong and I'm still trying to talk through it. And it's like, honestly, you should be the one crying. I shouldn't be the one crying. But so I'm sorry I'm taking this, but please, I know you love me and I know you get it, babe. But
Yeah.
like, all of that is just, and so I'm still learning. 10 years into the marriage, it's a constant will of evolution and learning and letting go of
Mm-hmm.
past things and learning new ways to do it better.
Yeah.
um and it's consistent and it's daily.
Always. Yeah. I feel like I was probably in a similar mindset, and then I had to learn that I need to express during the times when I get quiet that okay, I just need to process. It's too many
Hmm.
things. It's too many things coming out. It's too much that's being said, and sometimes I just need to sit for a second. It's not always silent treatment for me as much as it's processed. Because if I don't
Hmm.
sit and like actually play it out in
Yeah.
my head and like take a
And both.
second, then I
Yeah.
will come back with, like you said, like actually you should be crying. You should be the one
Mhm.
apologizing. But I have to like if I give myself that second, then I'll be like, okay, you know what? I can see where I can do better, and you know, then we
Yeah.
can go
And
from
that
there.
apology sometimes is so hard. That ego is nothing to play with.
Accountability is like
Coming.
I always say like
Woo.
accountability is so important, and I'm big on holding other people accountable. But it shit is still uncomfortable. I don't like being
It's
wrong.
so
It's so
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable. It's like,
No.
damn, now I gotta say. And so, like, you guys are like more silent. I'm a over communicator. But
Mm,
for me, I will just stream of conscious. I'll say any fucking thing. So I have to take a break to make sure that I'm
mm,
saying what I actually mean
Yeah.
before I say it and think about my delivery and think about what this other person might experience and how they communicate and all those things. Cause I'll just be like, da 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 da, and they'll just,
mm.
because I'm such an over communicator, it can be intimidating to people who don't
Yes,
communicate
Oh yeah.
in the same way that I
absolutely.
do, and I have to be like conscious of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Definitely.
that's real.
I feel like I'm only ever over communicating when I'm mad, which isn't good. Because then if I'm mad, I'm like, and there's no moment to speak. I've said everything and we're done. That is
Yeah,
all. So it
That's
like,
not
I'm
if
never
communication,
over
bitch. That's just your
communicating.
side.
you said what?
That's just your side. That ain't communication.
No, we're
Now I
done.
said all I had to say, and
We're
now
done.
we're done. I'm
We're done.
blocking you
But
mid
that,
sentence.
but you
Don't
know
want to
what?
hear your reply.
But you know
Man,
what? That also goes back to I finally feel like I'm in a relationship where I'm like, okay, let me not be done. Like, let me
Hmm.
actually sit here and say, okay, I'm willing, not even I'm willing to hear you out because that sounds so annoying.
Look, I feel you. It sounds bad. In the moment, I feel so justified in how I
Mhm.
respond or what I'm doing, or I'm not responding because my tone's going to be a certain way. So I'm sparing you. I'm just going to
Mhm.
sit here quiet and like move on.
Mhm.
Um, but no, that's not.
Yeah. Taking that time to just say like, "Hey, I need time to process," it makes the world of difference, especially for somebody who has that anxious attachment and needs to communicate because they know the conversation is coming. When you don't say shit, it's like
Yep.
you don't respect me. You don't care about
Yeah.
what I have going
Yeah.
You
on.
don't care.
Yeah.
And when my wife told me that, like, I was like, of course I do. And she was just
Mhm.
like, you're not saying shit. I wouldn't know that. How am I supposed to know you care when you are not acknowledging what I'm saying about what I need? And so it's hard to be like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really in the wrong. Okay, how do I do this? How can I fix this? That's why I was like, therapist, give me the tools, please. I want to do it. But I feel like there's some unconscious stuff happening within me where we need to get some help.
Mhm.
So definitely just being open to that too. That's the wife part as well. Is like you need to be open and understand and acknowledge that you don't have it all right.
Mhm.
You do not, you could have all the love, but there's still so much more. There is so much, it's just not love.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
What
not.
Love
I
is a verb. There's action that goes into that. What was
Exactly.
you saying, Lucci? I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, I know you mentioned therapy. Are there outside of therapy, are there any other things that you use, like tools you use to show up healthy in your relationship? Like, or in your marriage?
Yeah. Um, what is so a few years ago, there was something we used to say a lot. What was it? Oh, talk nice to me. Would say talk nice to me when a tone or like when I would it was really for me. But like when I'm getting like stuck or in something and I'm not really paying attention to my tone or my words, we got to a place of my wife being like, talk nice to me. Like as a quick check for me to be like, okay, body scan.
Mhm.
mm, right? Again,
Yeah.
about me, because you give stuff to your person, to your partner, to who you're in a relationship with when you come home from your day, when you come, and it's about releasing that and making sure that it's not directed at them. So that was one thing we did. What we started this year is following the 777 principle. So every 7 days, we do a date. It can be us put the kids down and now we're intentionally phones away at the table doing this activity, together. Um, it could be I have a doctor's appointment and you're there. So now let's take a couple hours after and do like a little coffee date or something like that. Something very intentional. Every 7 weeks is a weekend getaway, at least like one night away out of your home. And we went up to Napa. We did the cabins, like just up an hour away in the mountains for 24 hours. We loved that. That was so amazing. Um, we did it again after Beyonce. We just stayed out there. And that was our little, so that was a really fun.
I
Oh,
have
and then every 7 months is the vacation.
Something that came up for me while you were talking, I don't know if y'all saw it, it's a it might be a documentary with Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin, and they were
Mm,
talking, and she was saying like, I'm going to like butcher it, but essentially like treat me like you treat everybody outside. Like sometimes we go to work and we put our face on, and we have our relationships and we put
yes.
our face on. But because we have this partner who has seen us in every different phase of ourselves and we're safe with them and we love them, that they get all our bullshit. But if
Man,
I can fucking fix my tone for a stranger, then I can fix my tone for somebody that I love.
yes. Woo. My wife's about to be watching this like, okay now. So let me hear it.
and, and honestly, I feel like
That's real.
I was in a relationship. Well, I can't even remember what relationship this was, but there was this one point where this the girl who I was dating, I didn't like the way she was talking to me, and I remember I told her, I was like, I listen to you on calls all day. I listen to you talk in your meetings and everything. I listen to you get so irritated with your boss. I know your attitude, and you put it on mute and you cuss and you go off, but you go right back in there. And the way that you change your tone is how I want you to change your tone when you talk to me. I was like,
Mhm.
and you're getting paid to do that. So act like you're getting paid to be here because you could be fired real quick. And like I remember telling her that, and she just was like, "Bitch,
Mm,
what?" And I was like, "Yeah,
yeah.
you can be fired from here too." Like, and it was like the
Mm.
realest like moment where I was like, "Yeah," and I walked off.
Told her,
But
told
like
that bitch.
it was like just a moment where I was like, I literally watched her, and she would, because she just really
Mhm.
would give me her attitude 24/7. I always got it. I always got it. And I was like, I'm such a nice person that if I cuss you out, you calling the police. So it's like I always have to tell people when I'm dating, I'm like, hey, my mouth is reckless. So
Mm.
maybe watch yours, because
Ah,
if you
okay.
don't and I say something, we probably won't be together. Cause I'm gonna go
Yeah.
off. I'm gonna take it
See,
there.
I'm, and I've
Mm-hmm.
never really been like that. Like, just, naturally, I gotten to a place where I can,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like mine's definitely, I'm giving the attitude, the silent, the tone of like, don't bother me with this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mhm.
and that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, that's disgusting behavior. Like, but in the moment, I don't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah.
And then she comes back to me with it and was like, and you didn't respond to this. And then you said it like this. And then so, like, you just don't care. And I'm just like, of course I do.
Yeah.
You're my everything. I love you. And it's just like, why am I dumping my shit on you like that? Why am I giving you this side instead of putting more effort to giving the best side? Because you do deserve that. Yes, you are my safe space. And in this home, I can, like,
Because the love
but
is unconditional. You know, sometimes
yeah.
when we don't when we're not when we know we can be imperfect, it's
Mm-hmm.
easy to put that down.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
it just made like when you were talking, it made me think about like we talked about in the last episode being retired crash outs. And a lot of times my crashing out was because I would be so anxious and overwhelmed and
Yeah.
overstimulated that I would be lashing out. And that wasn't fair to the people that were around me. And I didn't even recognize it because that was just what I was, needed to get out.
Yeah. Right. And in the moment, you're just like, I need
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
release. Like, this is,
Mm-hmm.
but then there's like, okay,
Yeah.
now shift perspective and
Mhm.
look at what you're giving me when I
Right. Like,
did
bitch, why you yelling
nothing.
at me because you don't like your outfit? Like, that's not my fault.
Yes.
Please go inside and get something else. Like, just leave me out of it.
This is the segment of our podcast called Messy Mailbag, where we answer questions from our audience. And we have some questions for you. So this one is from Femme in a Fog. Sometimes I don't know who I am outside of someone's girlfriend, friend, and daughter. Where do I even start reconnecting to me?
Something that really I was so grateful to be able to have the chance is that I happened to book a job out of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my first trip alone out of the country. And it was just so amazing just to travel a different part of this world just with me, and not as somebody's wife, and not as somebody's mom, not as somebody's sister or friend who I'm having to match itineraries with or do anything. It's just like me. I'm being me out here in this space. And
Mhm.
it's like, no, we're not all going to have the opportunity to go off to London and do that. But wherever you can, take some space. If it's Shit, I started going to the park, this one park that was by my son's school, and wanting to leave the kids at home so I can just have that moment at the park by myself because it just had these huge fountains and I could just have a moment to just, recenter myself.
Mm-hmm.
Finding little activities that you love, just remembering. I'm not a writer. I don't journal. I try. I've got so many like 2 page, 5 page written like journals, and I always start over. But just finding a way
Mm. I like
to actually do something that's going to recenter you and gives
Mhm.
you fulfillment, that is not about you being somebody else's person or having a responsibility over somebody else.
Yeah.
I like that.
I hear people all the time, like the women that I work with are either mothers or have big careers, or even myself, and they're always like, I don't have time for myself. Bitch, just literally your life. This
Yeah.
is literally your life. You have to make that time, even if it's 10
Yeah.
minutes a day. You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what happens when
Absolutely.
it's 40 years from now and God forbid you're the only one left and you look over your life and you only gave it to everybody else? How you
Hmm.
gonna feel
Hmm.
about that?
Yeah.
I think sometimes I'm not a parent, but like even when I've tried to like, I have a friend, I've tried to express it to her like you have to take time outside of your kids. And the hardest thing for her sometimes is like, but I can't. Like she doesn't have the help of the fathers, so she's a single mom. So she never likes to give herself permission. And I'm always like, if you don't take that second for you, you know, you're going to look back, like you said, and like really be like, oh my gosh, like what do I have now? And so I'm always telling her like, just go for a walk, just go on a hike, just go anywhere for 2 seconds by
Hmm.
yourself and do something that you would have done if you didn't have the kids. Like even when
Yeah.
he comes to
Hmm.
visit me, I'm always like, okay, we got a babysitter, we're leaving him here. And she'll be like,
Yeah.
oh well, maybe he can come. And I'll be like, no, he's not. We're going. Get in the car. We're getting out of here.
And I be feeling like an asshole sometimes because
Yeah.
like I don't have kids, so I do not know that experience. But I be trying to tell my clients, like, you can teach your kids boundaries. Hey, mommy on Wednesdays from 7 to 7:30 needs mommy time. And you're
Hmm.
Hmm.
teaching your kid, you're showing your kids that you can prioritize yourself and you're modeling
Yeah.
it for them.
The guilt we put on ourselves of our kids is
Hmm.
crazy. And I am big for it and working through it myself,
Yeah.
because it is now affecting how I parent because I'm holding on to this guilt. And so now I'm not, you know, disciplining where I should or like
Mhm.
doing the things because I'm just like, I messed up and I've done this and now this is affecting them this way and I don't want them in therapy because I was such a horrible mom and didn't have time for this. And um
Mhm.
it's it's real, it's heavy, and I definitely openly communicate with other moms about this and I share it so that when they feel open to share it too, because it is really in those places of vulnerability when we are vulnerable that then we're able to make space for community.
Yeah.
And so that is what I also love about social media is being able to share those vulnerable parts and people be like, I'm really not alone in this. And then we make, community and then we meet in person. And I literally have people who are like family that I have yet to meet. I'm about to go to a wedding in July. Been friends with them for like 5 years and have not had the opportunity to meet them and finally
Oh
will.
wow, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
I love that.
So amazing. So I'm just like, um, yes,
Yeah.
vulnerability and transparency makes room for community. And we as moms have to release the guilt and show our children that we matter, our marriages matter, how we even like talk to each other, how we communicate. Like we don't hide to even
Mhm.
like clear the air about some things. Like we'll discuss things, settle disagreements and stuff in front of them so that they can know how to communicate too.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I didn't see that. And I remember coming across that one time on a reel, and I was all like, duh. Like, they do what they see
Mhm.
constantly, immediately.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Things I did something just the other morning with my toothbrush, and immediately my son did it because he was brushing his teeth. And I was all like, what? And it was, I can't remember, but I was all like, I shouldn't have done that. I should, because immediately, like, he's copying me. So it's like, we really want to be intentional
Mm-hmm.
with what we're doing and what we're sharing with them because they are watching, our
Yeah.
every move. So yeah, mommy is about to sit right here and take some time. I got my baby schedule on the wall. This is what you guys are doing. And I'm being more intentional too on making sure that I set activities up for them that are solo play. This is your
Mhm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
You do not need me for every single activity.
Mm-hmm.
There will be no progress through the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
you have to do some things on your own and mommy's going to go work on this and then we'll come back and do this activity together and then you're going to have your outside play while mommy cooks in the kitchen by herself without you stepping on her toes and all over,
Mhm.
like just really setting the tone and communicating with them
Yeah.
Yeah.
regularly.
'Cause they
Okay.
are whole people. They are little people that just absorb everything.
Y'all.
Yeah, and, like, we've
Okay.
been talking about a lot of heavy things, so we wanna wrap it up with just something fun, this or that.
Mm-hmm.
And my
Okay.
first one is brunch with the girls or nap with the kids?
Brunch with the girls.
Period.
I'm gonna eat and hang out with my girlfriends. What? There's no comparison.
Listen.
Yes, I love my sleep too. And
Mm,
I can nap.
mm.
I love me a midday nap, but I love food more. And a
Okay.
brunch with girls is always gonna win out.
Well, the second one we have is alone in a hotel or deep conversations with boo, or well, wifey in this case.
Deep conversations with boo.
I like that.
Because I feel like we don't really be having a lot of time for like the deep stuff. And so like on one of our getaway trips, like I made sure to bring like some relationship cards just to like, because you kind of get into this routine and you've been together for so long and you
Mm,
feel like sometimes you just need some prompted questions to be
Mhm,
like, to dig a little deeper and to hear something that, you haven't heard in a while or haven't heard
mm,
before. And then the conversation can organically go. But yeah, and I would much rather be alone in my home than
mhm.
alone in a
mhm,
hotel.
Yeah,
I'm just
mhm.
gonna put that out there too.
yeah. And I was,
Take these, y'all go to a hotel. Leave me here.
I saw that, somebody had for Mother's Day, he took the kids to a
Here.
hotel for 3 days. Yep.
Yep. Here. Yep.
Yeah.
I saw that and immediately told SK, I was like, I love this idea.
Mhm,
And she loves to be able to like go spend money on them, like have them
yeah.
go. I said, this sounds great. Like, cause this year I have had a couple moments at home by myself because I realized that I really never did. I was always the one taking the kids out. SK was always home, always home.
Mm,
And there had been a point last year before we moved that I was all like, I can't think of when I've ever been in this home alone.
mm,
They've been asleep. And so I've had
mhm,
quiet time here, but I've never been by myself
yeah.
hours on end to just be in my home, in my comfort space, in my safe
mhm.
space, not outcasted to a hotel to sit there. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. But I just want to be on my couch
Yeah.
without being bothered. I want to eat my food without fingers in it,
Mm. Walk
So
around my house.
I have
Yeah.
one more this or that, sex in silence while the kids are home or risk it all for a little moan.
I'm gonna risk it all because I can't shut up. She be like, shut up, pillow over her mouth. I'm like,
Period.
let me hear it. I can't. I don't want to be quiet. Like, we gonna risk it
Risk.
because
I
that
love
just,
that.
but
Thank you
sometimes it
so
do have to
much.
happen.
I know. Thank you. Thank
Thank you, you guys. I had a great time, and I hope that everything that was shared really hits who it needs to hit. I love the podcast. I feel like the little awkward femme, within us is this concept was great. And so y'all just keep doing what you're doing, and I'm always gonna be here.
Thank
Thank
you. And
you.
we appreciate you so much. Look, we gotta both hearts.
Oh,
I love
and then
y'all
in
the
a
real
gay
way.
way.
I'll never forget that.
Alright. Thank you for watching Awkward Femmes. See y'all
Thank you
next
for
time.
watching.
Bye.
Bye. And we're out.